Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast. This is Youth Alive Kenya's podcast, and this is the first podcast of the year, which makes it very special. My name is Sheba Makori. I am the communications lead at Youth Alive Kenya, and we have so much to share with you. But before we go on, I'd love to introduce some special people who are in studio with me. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell us where they're from.
Hi, Sheba, how are you?
I'm fine, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. My name is Believe Marufu. I'm an exchange participant from Zimbabwe. That is under YET, which is a Youth Empowerment Transformation Trust. So YET is generally a youth organization. Me personally, I'm a media and communications personnel, generally using my media skills to drive change in my community and my country at large. That is through media advocacy. And here at Youth Alive, I've been supporting the communications department.
Yes, I know that very well. We've been working together for about 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah.
And the experience has been nothing short of amazing. So before I ask you more questions, I will hand it over to the next lovely person.
Hi, Sheba.
Hi, Yewo.
As you said, I'm Yewo Kalua. I'm an exchange participant from Malawi. So I'm a political scientist and I'm very interested in social research. And I'm a part-time farmer. I keep goats, pigs.
Wow.
And goats are my favorite.
I think you mentioned that before. That's why goats though? Just curious. Why goats, not sheep?
Goats have a lot of personality.
Okay. So what have you been doing at Youth Alive Kenya? But before that, let me just start by saying that you've been very brilliant. We've not worked really closely, but in terms of your analytical skills, they've really spoken into the organization. But yeah, what have you been doing at Youth Alive Kenya?
I've been supporting the M&D department. And one of the key activities I engaged in was the youth engagement exercise, where Youth Alive Kenya was conducting research on its member organizations, mapping them out, wanting to know where they are and what they do. And I was heavily involved in the data collection, data analysis, and data visualization. So basically the data management of the exercise.
Oh, wow. Okay, so before we get too deep into the interview and get even maybe slightly more technical, you came to Kenya. Billy is from Zimbabwe and Yewo is from Malawi. So before we start, I'd like to know what's one fact you wish people would know before coming to Kenya for the first time? And for Zimbabwe, Billy, what is one fact we should know before we ever visit Zimbabwe? So basically 2 facts from the both of you.
So something I should have known about Kenya, I'm a food lover. I should have known that, Kenyan ugali is very hard. It's totally different from ours. Yeah, so, and other things are like, the food here is totally different from the one that we have back in Zimbabwe. So I should have carried some stuff from Zimbabwe. And one fun fact about Zimbabwe, I'll take you to the Zimbabwean people. We are fun people. We like to enjoy ourselves, and we don't like tense environments, or too serious things in a bad way, not like, So we are just like fun people. We like to enjoy ourselves. When there is something that is extremely serious and tense, sometimes we just find jokes in those things and then, make life move on in a good way.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to your personality. Even when we work in the office, you're very fun, very easygoing. Even when we might have some work and we have deadlines, you just have a way of refreshing the room and bringing the joy and the calm. So I think that's something I will definitely miss about you.
Oh, thank you.
So over to you. I would love to know one thing people from Malawi should know before visiting Kenya, and one thing people from Kenya should know before visiting Malawi.
I think one thing people from Malawi should know before visiting Kenya is that Kenya doesn't do a lot of pork. And as Malawians, we love pork. We love our pork. We don't, like, our nyama choma revolves basically around pork.
Oh.
And you come here and you see it's only like beef and maybe goat sometimes.
You know, we actually do have pork, which makes me feel a bit sad. We probably should have taken you to like a pork joint before you left. We do have pork centers, but they're very specific in location and where they are. But I guess that's something we've taken from that. And then what's something you wish we would know if we ever visited Malawi?
So if you ever visit Malawi, I think one of the things I would advise you is you have to travel around with a Malawian because you can't order a boat or an Uber in Malawi.
Oh, so what do you use for transportation?
We use minibuses, but then you just know where the stage is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So no Ubers, no bodas.
We have bodas, but then on the Ubers you have to like know the number of the Uber person you're contacting.
Ah, okay. So like an actual taxi.
Yeah.
Like a cab. Okay. All right. So now that we've broken the ice, I'd like to ask, probe into the exchange program and just, know what it's been about from your perspective. So, Billy, what is the Norex South to South exchange about? And how the partnership has been with Youth Alive as you are from Yet, right? And how it's just impacting young people.
So generally, NOREC, is the Norwegian Agency for Exchange Cooperation. It operates as an executive body under the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it supports and works with various organizations, institutions, and companies, in this exchange program project. So the South to South exchange, known also as the Youth Participate Project, is a youth empowerment exchange program that involves 3 countries, that is Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Kenya. And the partner organizations, which are YET, that is from Zimbabwe, and CSA, which is Center for Youth Empowerment and Civic Education, that is from Malawi, and of course Youth Alive Kenya, where we are here in Kenya. So this is a partnership that allows young leaders, that is from different working groups, youth clubs, partner organizations, to participate in this exchange that is fostering mutual learning and collaboration. So it significantly impacts young people by providing them with opportunity to gain new skills, experiences, and perspectives that contribute to their personal and professional growth.
Okay, so I think now what is just a follow-up question on that, what is maybe one skill that you've learned that you would take back to Yet in Zimbabwe? Anything from an organizational level, or just, is there anything in particular that you can point out?
So being in the comms department here at Youth Alive have helped me enhance my comms and media skills. So I've learned a lot, gained new skills, learned about new softwares, and a lot of things. And directly from you, I've learned a lot of things, that is on how to run the social medias, and so on. So I've taken all of those things and made them like meet my angle or my focus, that is media advocacy. And I feel like it has enhanced my media advocacy skills a lot, and I've gained a lot.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Billy, for that definitive answer, and I will roll the ball back to Yewo and just ask you the same. What are some of the skills that have stood out for you that you've learned in this organization that you are ready to put back into your organization back at home, which I believe is CSA? You can also share a bit about CSA and what they do. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'll start with the last question.
Okay.
CSA stands for Center for Youth Empowerment and Civic Education, and this organization mainly works with youth, empowers youth. So one of the projects under CSA is the Youth Researchers Academy, where they select young people who have just graduated from college, and then they train them in research skills and social research skills. And there they choose one topic that truly resonates with them and truly resonates with the youth at that particular time. And they're supposed to carry out a research exercise on that issue, and then they're supposed to present their findings to jury bearers, and all that, so that the jury bearers use those findings as evidence to come up with interventions that work on the youth based on the areas that were selected by the Young Researchers Academy students. So I was part of the Youth Research Academy, and the skill that after working with Youth Alive, I think I've been heavily involved in research, and this has just sharpened my skills and given me an opportunity to exercise whatever knowledge and theories I had about research. So that's one of the things I'm taking back at CSA, because now I feel like I understand research from a very practical point of view.
You've actually really been heavily involved in the M&E department, and you've carried, a lot. You've carried a lot of weight, if not some. Your presence, definitely, you've left a mark. I think that's just what I'm trying to say. Okay, so have you encountered any challenges or concerns related to the program itself, and how did you go about dealing with any of these challenges? Because we know nothing is always as smooth, especially you're moving to a new country, you're meeting new people, you might not necessarily have new friends, it's a new workplace. So what challenges have you encountered with the program, and how have you dealt with it?
So personally, as we were traveling here to Kenya, I had a lot of fears, and you'll be having these dramas in your minds like, what might happen, and so on. But when we got here for the internal preparatory session, the coordinators eased us down with a lot of information, and we're good to go. So personally, I cannot say I faced significant challenges during this program. Everything was going smooth, Sometimes I actually get to sit and think about it when I'm asked this question, which challenges did I go through? Probably zero. But initially when I got here, the most important things is to probably get a better understanding of the currency, understand the value of money and so on. That moment where you have 1,000 shillings in your hands, and you don't properly understand its value. So you might just spend it in other ways, you'd be just it's just 1,000 shillings. And to also understand the culture and how things are done in Kenya, and other things. But however, I think it's just proper to remain open-minded. I think that's the best solution. To be learning things, seeing how things go, and just try to blend in. And on the work environment during this program, the Youth Alive team have made the working environment very friendly and smooth. So everything went well.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, because we share an office, and I've been very sad if you said the working environment wasn't conducive. So on to Yewo. I would love to know, have you encountered any challenges or concerns related to the program itself? And if so, how have you gone about dealing with the problem?
I think one of the challenges was the language. So you're excited about Kenya and you like to experience every aspect of it. And since we live in Kilimani, you want to go to places that actually affect how actual Kenyans live, like maybe Kawangware and stuff like that. So I remember this other time I boarded a minibus. It wasn't like Matatu, but then it was a minibus. And then I had to drop somewhere. And then I didn't know how to say, drop me here.
It's Shukisha.
So I dropped, of course, but then after like my stage had passed, I dropped at the next stop. And then I was like, I think I need like proper language lessons before even attempting these other things.
I think maybe, we did, when we had an interview like this before with the previous exchange participants, I think language barrier was something that they brought up. So maybe we could consider having a small training session in Swahili maybe a month before you came, but it has been a challenge that has been brought up even before. So you're not alone. So Billy, we've been working closely, but you've also worked with programs and other departments. And what are some of the activities that you have been part of as the South to South exchange participant? Just give us a rundown of some of the things you've been doing.
I actually did a lot of things as an exchange participant. I've been involved in a lot of projects, various activities here at Youth Alive. So some of the things, just to mention a few, I contributed in the Youth Alive at 25 documentary. I was also part of the People's Dialogue Festival. Also participated and supported in the Climate Summit 2024. I was also helping in developing the IEC materials for projects like We Care, Time to Care, People's Dialogue Festival again. And I also did worked on the layout and the design of the annual report.
Yes, if I could just chip in and say that is something that you definitely left your mark on. Like the annual report for 2023 definitely has your essence on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was also part of the youth organization mapping. I really enjoyed that one. I got a chance to go out there, the communities, to meet young people who are doing things, and it was really nice. And we also did and done and conducted 2 budget advocacy trainings, and they really went well. There were a lot of things. Some of them I just can't remember from the head.
Which is okay. So maybe just a follow-up on that. Based on all these experiences you had, I believe you managed to travel to several towns and cities in Kenya. Which one would you say was your favorite? Because you've been to Mombasa, you've been to Eldoret, you've been to Kisumu. So what's been your favorite and why?
In the traveling part, a lot, I think we need to include the word flying.
Oh yeah, he was catching flights.
Catching flights
to back
different
to
places,
back.
back to back. So I think my favorite visit was Mombasa. Got a chance to go to the beach, a real beach. Real beach with real sand. And I also got a chance, to swim in the ocean. It was actually fun and Mombasa.
I wish there was a camera right now so you could all see the Billy's face. He's like, oh my God, take me back. Anyway, so I will move to back to Yewo. Just to go back to the question, what activities have you been part of as a South to South exchange participant? I know there's been a lot, but if you could just give us, a small breakdown of what you've been part of.
I've been part of the budget advocacy sessions where we've facilitated budget advocacy stuff, like how the Kenyan youth can actually advocate for their needs during the budget making process. And also I've been heavily engaged in the youth engagement exercise that involved where we went to counties like Machakos to collect data and meet youth where they operate. And also I've been involved in the feminist hangout, which was an interesting conversation.
Do you want to share a bit on it? If we still have time, you could maybe give us a small 1 minute. What was the feminist hangout on?
So the feminist hangout involved women, young urban women and refugee women in Kamkunji, if I've pronounced that right.
You actually got it right, yeah.
So they were just talking about the issue of public services and how if they are being responsive to their needs and if they are gender sensitive and all that. So one of the things they talked about was femicide, where they said that some of the things that facilitate femicide is that the police desk, like the gender desk at the police station, has police officers that are gender ignorant, so they said.
Yeah.
And instead of helping the women and maybe rescuing them from abusive marriages, abusive relationships, they bring them.
Yeah, I think that is actually a thing with police stations in Kenya, especially when you are reporting maybe abuse or something that's happened to you. There are people who will ask you, oh, how are you dressed, or look at how you're dressed, or were you drunk, or you're actually drunk, so are you sure what you're saying is true? So that's definitely an experience that a lot of Kenyan women could share or would share. So, but yes, thank you for that. Are there any other activities that you've done that could be or are memorable to you?
I think the People's Dialogue Festival is very memorable. It was a chance to sell out the organization to youth, to members of the society that were interested. And it was at that particular time that, I had a time to reflect, like, what does Youth Alive do? How do I best present this to people so that they understand what Youth Alive does? And meeting a lot of people from diverse organizations, it was actually very nice and refreshing.
Okay. Yes, I actually did see you in the field at some point when I came, and you were very busy for a while. But yes, so just to move on from that, given this opportunity, you have managed to travel far and wide in Kenya. So what would you say is your favorite county or, city so far?
My favorite county is Murang'a.
Oh, wow. Why Murang'a?
Murang'a is very scenic and very beautiful. Because when you're traveling up and down the hills, and then you see like the rivers meandering like throughout the hills and all that, it was very nice, and it had like nice air, nice environment.
I think I'm getting a little hint of Earth Girl. I mean, you like goats, you like farming, you're like, it had a scenic route. Well, I'm honestly impressed. I did not think you would say Murang'a. So props to Murang'a people. So next thing. What was your most memorable or fun experience? You've been at Youth Alive Kenya for about 4 months, 5 months, Billy. I'm not even sure. 4 to 5? And what would you say was your most memorable experience?
So I'll start the memorable experience isn't just like Kenya. The first one, I'll repeat it again. The Mombasa visit.
The Mombasa visit.
Yeah, that was very memorable. And there are some things that we take lightly, like I've mentioned again before. The catching flies thing. And when you get to an extent of actually taking a nap on a flight, you'll be like, okay, I'm used to this. This is now my thing. Yeah, so it was some of those things where you'd be like, okay, this is fun. This is not like an everyday life that you do, or everyday things that you do back home. And also I'm just a person who likes traveling, so the traveling was also very nice, and I enjoyed. And here at Youth Alive, every day is a memorable and fun day because the team made us feel like at home. And it's actually hard to pick out like one specific day where you'll be like, this day at work was like a highlight. Yes, of course, you have those one too, like the potluck day. It was fun and nice. But again, there are a lot of things that we did here, so it was just nice. And each day brought like unique experiences and joy, and just made this day awesome. Yeah.
in simple terms, then we just say, oh. Okay, well, on to you, Yewo. What could be the most, or what has been the most memorable or fun experience you've had at Youth Alive and just in Kenya in general?
The most memorable and fun experience I've had at Youth Alive, that's actually a very difficult question because to pick one from all the fun experiences is difficult. But I can say the most memorable experience and fun experience was when we recently had to cook
Yes.
our logo dishes. I think it was very fun because honestly I didn't see myself cooking that dish.
Well, it turned out amazing. The feedback from everyone was, yeah.
And just to see how Youth Alive accommodates diversity, where every culture, every aspect of life is welcome, especially among the staff members and all that. So I think it was very memorable. And the most memorable experience in Kenya, I got lost in town.
Oh, wow. Well, is that, what happened?
I was following Google Maps and I think I went off track and I was just wandering about in town.
So how did you find your way back? Also considering you were using your phone out in the open in CBD, how did
That was one of, you see, after I figured out where I was supposed to go, I kept my phone in my bag.
Okay.
And then I was like, I'm going to follow through. And then I lost track of where I was going because I couldn't use my phone out in the open.
Yeah.
And then I just had to crash my phone close to myself and just check where the National Archives is.
Well, hint is maybe when you come to Nairobi next time, look for, I think there are 3 places that are Mark's archives. We have, no, it's not the Hilton. There's KICC. It's shaped very, and Kencom. Those are ones you could stand there and tell someone, I'm lost, but I'm at Kencom, or I'm at Archives, or I'm at KICC, come and get me. But I'm sorry for that experience that you had. And maybe to just tell people, Yewo and Billy cooked for us, I think it was 2 days ago. We wanted to try their food because they've been raving about sadza and this vegetable dish that you made that had, I think, groundnut powder, and it's definitely lived up to the standards. Do you want to tell us a bit about that vegetable? I don't remember the name. Please remind me the name.
Oh, it was Nkwani Odendera.
Hey! Nkwani, oh, sorry, what?
Nkwani Odendera.
You can repeat that.
Okay, we'll take lessons at the back. Meet me at the back. So, on to Billy again. Do you have any feedback on the program? Just, it could be anything positive you particularly enjoyed, or just something that could help improve this experience for future participants, because we have people coming in and we always want to hear your feedback and see how can we change things to make it more comfortable for even the next people. So
Okay. Yeah, so before I answer that, just like just pitching to what Yebo was saying, you know, Google Maps sometimes it can throw you places.
have you also gotten lost?
You'll be like, you go this direction and it's telling you to head this direction, and you're realizing like, no, I want to go to this shop, and it's actually like the other side. Google Maps is something else. And again, like what you were saying, National Archives, like when I was going through Facebook, I actually bumped into a video which was like, whenever you get lost in Nairobi, just find yourself back to National Archives.
Yes.
And you'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so answering the question, I think we shared this suggestion, this feedback. So it was to allocate a small budget, you know, to show participants around, visit different sites, places that is during the first week or first weeks, or probably the first month of arrival. So we believe that this will help new participants to acclimate and more quickly enrich themselves with the environment, the places, and also the cultural experiences. And overall, the program was well organized, and I particularly enjoyed the supportive and welcoming environment provided by the Youth Alive Kenya team, and also our coordinators. They were taking care of us and taking care of everything in a very good way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with one for just a bit of sightseeing to get acquainted with Kenya and Nairobi city. So yeah, that's definitely some feedback that will be taken. So Yewo, do you have any feedback on the program? It could also be positive, or it could be something that could help improve this experience for future participants. So yes.
Positive feedback. I think it's very amazing how Youth Alive assimilates the participants into its everyday working. For instance, when I first came to Kenya, one of the fears I had was that I wouldn't be as involved. And as someone who does not like just sitting around doing nothing, I felt anxious. I was like, what if I go there and I'm just like an office chair or some office furniture, and I'm not really engaged in any sort of way. But then when I came here, one of the amazing things was that without even seeing it, the transition to actually being a part of Youth Alive was so seamless.
Yeah.
And I was heavily engaged, and I think so was Believe. Your boss is watching.
I'm watching, I'm listening. Okay, so I think back to you. So just a follow-up question. There's definitely people who are going to be listening to this podcast because they are coming in next, or there are people who are listening to this podcast because they have aspirations to be part of this program. So what are some of the tips or advice you would give them as they try to get into this program, basically?
So generally, my advice, I think, will be focusing on those who come across the call for the exchange program. All I can say is please apply. I was one of those people who will be like, I don't think I will succeed in this thing. Yeah, but I applied and I succeeded. So the best thing to do is to just apply. You never know what will happen. You might be the next exchange participant and experiencing this good environment in this good country. Yeah, so my word is just apply and just do your best when you're applying. Put your all. You will definitely get the chance to be an exchange participant.
Billy with the motivation. So back to you. What is, if there's someone who aspires to be where you are right now, what is a tip or advice that you can give?
Since Billy has already covered the advice for those who like to apply for the program, for those that are coming in the exchange program, my advice would be that they should be open-minded and ready to learn, because when you're in a new country, new context, and a new work environment, there's a lot of learning and unlearning that has to happen. And if you're close-minded, you might not enjoy it as much as you ought to. So my advice would be that people ought to be open-minded and willing to learn.
I like that. I especially like the part where you said you have to be willing to learn and unlearn. And yeah, I think when you come into a new place, sometimes you come with your own ideas and how you want to do things, but it's good to be open, right? Okay, so based on the experiences that you've had with this exchange program, would you say it's influenced your future plans or your career aspirations? And if yes, what are your career or future plans? And how does this experience contribute to that?
So, yes, my experiences during this exchange program has significantly influenced my future plans and my career aspirations. This program has expanded my understanding of youth empowerment and of course sustainable development. So I plan to leverage my new skills and insights, of course some of the skills that I've learned from you, to probably enhance my media advocacy work that is back in Zimbabwe and back in my hometown, Kariba. So I aim to initiate and support projects that empower young people and ensure that their voices are heard in development disclosure. So ultimately, I inspire to lead a media organization that is dedicated, like purely dedicated, to youth empowerment and sustainable development. That is through media advocacy. Of course, using the knowledge and experience that I've gained from this exchange program, that is to drive positive change in my community and beyond. So, yeah, this exchange program have really impacted the way I view things and also my professional side.
I honestly, that answer was so cohesive. I have nothing to add to that. I will just pass the mic to Yewo. So, has your current experience at Youth Alive Kenya influenced your future plans or career aspirations? And if yes, what are your career or future plans, and how does this experience contribute to that?
My experience has really inspired my future plans, because when you engage with youth in Kenya, they're well vested knowledge on what's going around, what's happening, and how their systems work. And that made me look back to my country and just assess how engaged the youth are. And they're not as engaged as they ought to be. So my future plans is that I work towards inspiring youth to participate in decision-making processes. And that should be done by first letting them know how these institutions work, where they come in, and all that. So after our exchange period, we are supposed to do some follow-up work. And one of the ideas I have, because I haven't actually written it down, but one of the ideas I have is to have a policy festival where youth engage with policies and maybe institutions or laws that affect them, but then in a very youth-friendly manner, not like those slow messages and all that. Yeah.
So am I invited for that? And if so, are you flying me out to Malawi? Yewo. Well, I would definitely, I might not be Malawi, but I'm definitely beside this. I'm on the sidelines clapping for you and cheering you on, and you can obviously always ask for support from this end. I think everyone has made that very known and open. So Yewo and Billy, thank you so much for making time to have a sit down with me and allowing me to probe your mind and ask all these questions. I know it's taken quite some time, but we are going to be having fun right after this, so that makes that count. However, before we end, I'd like to know, is there any slang you've learnt from Kenya, any words that you would like to share with us, or when you go home you're going to tell stories and say, oh, there's this slang, they use this name. Is there any Kenyan slang you've learnt?
Oh, like an exclamation. When Kenyans say guy. At first it was confusing, but I got a hang of it.
Yeah, we tend to say guy a lot. Although guy is actually from a particular tribe, but it's used by almost everyone. Just a fact to take back. It's from a particular tribe, but everyone uses it. So yeah, I can see how that can be confusing.
I thought it was the English guy, like G-U-Y.
Oh, like guy, like person.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's actually guy, but we say guy. Anyway, let me not add to your confusion. On to you. Really? Okay, then I'm going to ask you to say there's this word you use in the office when everything is fine, like there's a lot going on and we have timelines and deadlines, and you tell me there's a way you say it in Zimbabwe. I mean, I say don't worry, but there's a way you say it that I just, yeah.
So it's don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. It's actually means to chill everything down, to calm the environment. Don't worry.
Yes. So that would be my takeaway. Well, thank you so much, guys, for having a sit down with me. I have been your host / interviewer, Sheba Makori, but I would also want to recognize our silent partner who's been here, our communications specialist, Frederick Otieno, who has been manning the decks and the sound. So just an appreciation to him. And also want to thank Billy for being in studio. I've definitely enjoyed working with you closely, and I think I've even constantly said it, please, are you sure you want to go back to Zimbabwe? You could have, you could stay here. And also, Yewo, I think you've made an impact. We didn't work in the same department, but everyone who's worked with you has constantly said, wow, this lady really puts in the work. She's intelligent, she's smart. So I will still put the offer out there. You guys can stay back, we could apply, and yes. So before we close the show, I'll let our lovely guests say goodbye.
Oh, thank you, Sheba. It's been actually a very great time that we had here in Kenya, and specifically here at Youth Alive. You guys made our stay so nice and great. We had great times, we learned a lot, we had fun times, and I know today we are even going to have more.
Yeah.
So being a part of Youth Alive Kenya just gave me a better understanding of the organization system, project management, the importance of community-driven initiatives and the exposure to new systems, softwares. And it also enhanced my technical skills, making me a better equipped media personnel. So it's actually been productive, and I gained a lot from this exchange. So thank you very much to the Youth Alive team, and thank you very much also, a big appreciation to the NOREC team for giving us these opportunities. And it's been really great.